Hello. Symbols is one of the largest and fast-growing UI collection, and it also comes with the studio that we can build and maintain components. It comes with more than 500 components that's included in your projects when you start. It's completely free and open source components. But the main key in this component is that it's completely adjusted to the design system, and when we adjust design system properties um, to the project, that includes colors, fonts, sizing, spacing, responsive breakpoints, icons, and so on. All the components then will adjust to the design system, so we have minimum efforts to customize and personalize them. I'll show you the example. If we switch project, um, let's using different design system, we'll see components adjusting to them. This is probably the one of the most advanced design system that it covers most of the needs that designers can apply as tokens, but it's also more than what we can achieve in design tools. We can adjust type settings and also how they behave on different devices. Um, for example, typography and spacing is both, we can see spacing here. It's both using the same technique, page size and density. Um, Density is how shrink or kind of breathing layout, so you can shrink or spread the sizing between the items. I'm going to show you the example. This is one of the websites we built, and you see when we resize the responsive, all the changes is basically done by design system properties, and it's not only the size of the items, it's also the space between them. This is completely done automatically by design system, and we know how to customize and individually adjust each component as the spacing sequence transforms them all. Let's go ahead and see what components we have. We have all the small atoms, bigger components, and then blocks and layouts that it's larger in composition. You can use those components instantly, and Symbols has 100% customizable components. That it's not that what properties we should pass. You can override each element or each property to the component. I'll show you the example. Let me switch the project. I'm gonna show you the example of how we can add a new one. So in component addition model, we can create a test component. This is atomic structure. It does not, it just puts the component into the category of atomic design principle. Atom is the smallest component that is usually won't divide into, or it's like so small that it has one individual purpose. The component is kind of the also like individual components that can have some purpose, but it's not also that's using in blocks or so on. Please refer to atomic design principle, and it's very similar to that. And blocks and articles is just bigger layout components that's kind of bigger than one component, but it's also using like one section or one kind of business logic point. And layout is for grids and layouts that if we have all that kind of settled in place, then new pages and layouts will be very easy to build, just using stick them to each other and reuse lots of components with whatever we already have. In advanced settings, we can pretty much use tags, that's comma separated tags, and then we'll have tags to easily find them. Figma preview URL passed in the CMS, so if we have data in CMS, we can mention path here, and so on. So this is like the grid settings, how they lay out in the grids that we see below, like the spacing on the components page, and so on. Let's go ahead and create a test component. And this is component studio page. Currently, we need to adjust components with the code, and I'll show you like small example how we can reuse already existing components. We could just simply copy the name of the component, and if we create a small object of this component, we can see how we import them. And also on layers, we can just navigate to other components and see their code base and how we can adjust each property to it. We can see this component consists of few items, and if we go back and just change the property for this specific item, let's call it, for example, yeah, this is how, like, what we mean with 100%. So you can override properties, you can nullify properties, and so on. For now, let's create one simple component, and let's try to use it in pages. This reminder that in sizing and in colors, symbols is preprocessor, so we can use design system properties. It's empowered by design system, but it always fallbacks the CSS. So the first, when we use a CSS, it's called CSS in props. So it has syntax, two types of syntax. You can use a shorter version just like that, or the don't-QL version, which is more advanced, so you can also have state, on events, and so on. So it's like more advanced use of element creation, but in most of the cases we can use a shorter sugar syntax. And all these documentation properties will be is already in docs that I'll show in a bit. The more no-code tools and tools that comes with more easier component creation will be added really soon. But currently, you can also describe components that they have documentation section. And so we can also put the Figma URL here, or use these components locally through the CLI tool, which I'll show you in a bit too. So let's just create one simple use of some Alright, now we have this test component. We can copy this name of it. Now we can see how we can reuse this in pages. This as test pages that we already built. let's create a new one. Well, the pages can come with a name and the URL. It can have like dynamic URLs, for example, depending on the ID and so on. This is example of components, and this is how we reuse them in the code. This is mostly reusing already existing components. Symbols pages are usually Lego like build. Let's create a page. It can auto-generate Slack. We have also more advanced properties. Okay, now we can see the new page that we built, and we can just include this in the about this page. And actually here we can also import other components. Extend is to extend the component with other component. It can be array, so we can extend multiple components just like that. Yes, and that's pretty much it with component reusability. Now, as we just created the page, now we can see that Symbols is also deploying everything that we make. I think we called it about us. So everything is real time when we change properties just here, and the shortcut for Mac is Option Shift and hover on the component that we can navigate to different components. On Windows it will be Alt Shift and hover, and if we change anything here, we see that it's real time. The same way the platform is also real time, so people across the teams can use it in real time. Like copywriters, designers can access their tools. Symbols has built-in CMS tools, design system tools, component creation, and so on. So we can see that if we also change the property here, it comes with real-time updates basically. Cool. Other than design system and building properties, we can add functions. That's also reusable functions. It comes with lots of building symbols functions, but you can also add your custom one. It's usually currently works with the front-end functions, so anything that can run in the browser you can create and reuse across components. Let's create a test function here. And we can now use this test function inside the component just as simple as, let me switch to recent components. So in props we can also have on render event and any other browser event that we can have. The first argument is element, and we can just now import the function just like that, and then we can execute the function. Cool. All the browser and built-in related properties and DOMQL related properties are described in documentation page. You can access this API page also from here. This is overview of like foundation of DOMQL. Element has pretty much the breakdown how the syntax work. It's easy, and it's also similar with React. The only difference is it's just using simple JavaScript objects that gives us possibilities to have easier real-time synchronization, and the code is already browser ready, so we don't have to transpile using Bubble or other shims and polyfills to run it inside the browser, and it's extremely fast for development. We don't need any DevOps configuration for JavaScript, that we can build anything on symbols. Lots of information you can see here. It also comes with event listeners and methods. For example, if we use methods to update element or update state, then we can have also the listener to it. And if we force the update, then we will get the event part here. During update, we can also send another object as a second argument. It's options argument. We can see what options we can also apply, but on event listener we can catch these options and we can have a communication just like that. In properties, you see all the possible properties that we can apply. We can also pass the nested properties if we want to access the children and override anything to it. Properties is unified CSS, HTML, and JavaScript properties. If you want to use CSS to it or HTML attributes, everything is in a single object, because we believe every property, either it's CSS, HTML, or JavaScript properties, is still a property, so it's our way to do that, but you can also customize it for your own use. You can use also style property just for isolated CSS use, and plus it comes with lots of built-in the ways and techniques how we can use it. So it's advanced user, and it makes it very easy to customize property along the fly. Cool. And the state is how we use, manage, and store the data. It's quite easy also. You can store the object on state, and then state is usually we have like state-driven apps if you want to use it, like we believe it's kind of primary way of use it. And then like state updates or changes on state also changes the UI and element. So it's single source of truth, and on state page you can see all other ways of using it and documenting. You can also upload files in symbols, and then when you upload the file you can use it in kind of easy way. Just like that, so just use a name and then it will render the file. All the symbols default properties, kind of built-in properties, are on this page, and soon we will be able to add custom properties. Now technically we can add custom properties that you want, but it will be able to do it from the platform. All other things you can find in settings, like integrations, adding more npm modules, how we can connect it to the CLI, and how we can basically connect to the domain, and also how publishing and versioning to it. So when we publish, it will keep that to a more safer place, and also if we have a symbols test domain, and if we have a custom domain, the published one will be applied to the custom domain, and it won't change things in the real time. It will be frozen. You can also reset to the last published version, and I'm going to also show you how you can use it locally. So you would need a CLI tool to install our symbols CLI to install globally. Let me access to documentation. We need to install this one. And now we can use this tool to create that locally. We need symbols create, and the key that we used during the page creation, you can also see the key here. So this is a custom way to make it using the creating the JSON object with all necessary properties. But if we use CLI tool to do it automatically, so it clones the starter kit and it creates all necessary configuration file. It takes a while because it also installs necessary dependencies. And when we finish the creation process, it has all configurations already settled, and then we will need to just symbols fetch for one-time fetching from the platform, or symbols sync that listens to the platform real time, and it's also two-way. If we want to change things locally and we change it, symbols push will deploy to the platform, or symbols sync will do it automatically in real time. Two-way syncing is experimental. It will come in production very soon, but it still works in some certain cases. Meanwhile, I want to show you also Figma alternative that you can use. That's similar components that we make on Figma, and so we'll release Figma synchronization through the plugin, and we also planning to have real-time synchronization that synchronizes not only with Figma but also with other tools, no-code tools like Webflow, Wix, Framer, and so on. But also one of the ways to use symbols, even though we use DOM-QL to create component, we can also export it on other frameworks like React, jQuery, HTML, CSS. That's coming first before September, and then we'll add planning to add Angular and other frameworks too. So as symbols project is created, we can see the structure. This is symbols boilerplate, and now as we do symbols fetch, it will use the key mentioned in symbols JSON and grabs all the components that we need, and now we simply do npm start and yarn start. Let's just remove it for now. I think we have still some syntax error. Let's accidentally add. Actually, let me open it in VS Code to see. Cool. So now we have this locally. So we can change everything just from here, and then we can use symbols push back to the platform. Hope this video is helpful. Please refer to documentation page to see anything, and please ask any question or feedback us to improve. Um, and on documentations page, you can see mostly tech documentation, but also we have a platform documentation that will be everything on the documentations page, and you can also use our Discord channel or just ask questions directly to us. Hope it helps, and thank you.